All right, welcome to the Soho Cinema Club, and today we're sat in the beautiful Soho Cinema in the heart of Hollywoodland, and I'm here with my good pals...
Jared Sexy Party Carlson.
Sean running around the screen, Sardi.
And me, Miles Flanagan, creator, owner, whatever, of the Soho Cinema Club and founder of Hollywood Horror Fest Boobs and Blood. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be watching a Benny Hill feature film. And I know many of you know of Benny Hill because of the TV show. But what they would do in I think it was mainly in the early 70s, would refilm a lot of sketches and release them as like a compilation film. They did that with the Pythons, with the Now for Something Completely Different, released in 71, which is... Many people think of Holy Grail as the first Python film, but I guess it wasn't in many ways.
Yeah.
So this is a Benny Hill feature film, and we have watched bits of it at the Soho Cinema Club. We had a night of British comedy, bawdy British comedy, and as part of that, we screened three 200-foot, 8-minute extracts from this film. So we have seen some of it before. But you guys, are you familiar with Benny Hill?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Not as much as other comedians, but I know of him.
And what are your thoughts on him then?
I think he is a rip-roaring good time, and he likes the ladies, and I think that's wonderful.
I know he likes the ladies a lot, but I mostly know him from the Michael Caine Italian Job.
Oh, wow, that's quite a diversion from his usual persona. I mean, in that, as a character actor, I don't think Benny's the best, but in that film, he's got fondness for large women, hasn't he?
He's more perverted in that one, I think, because
More perverted or just unchained? Let loose upon the world.
Okay, I'm looking for the video box.
over there somewhere.
I'm reading
Here it is. It slid under the Super 8 projector we have here. All right, let's see what the box says. Jared, do you want to read the box?
Why, certainly. His unique comedy stylings made him one of the most beloved entertainers in the world. Now, the hilarity of Benny Hill comes home in this side-splitting collection featuring classic early moments from the Benny Hill Show. Benny delights as a randy surgeon, an inept fitness instructor, a befuddled countess, a bumbling talk show host, and more. Accompanying Benny are a host of silly spoofs, crazy commercials, cheeky songs, and the infamous Hill's Angels, beauties to round out the fun.
This was 1974, and 87 minutes long. And let's play the film and see what we think after.
All right.
Yay!
Roll the projector, Barry!
Throw open wide your window, dear.
He's on his way with the comedy event of the year. Yes, it's Baby Blue Eyes himself, the one and only Benny Hill. It's the biggest non-stop laugh extravaganza ever. Now on the big screen, the best of Benny Hill.
Can I go wee now?
Yes, you can go with me now.
All right, well, we've just finished watching The Best of Benny Hill, the feature film from 1974. One thing I was actually surprised at, I thought it was all shot on film, but
Some
I'd
was
say like
video.
the vast majority of it just looked like it was a transfer from
It was a
video.
transfer. Yeah.
And then I was thinking, was that really the release? But I guess it was.
Yeah, I mean, the
I guess it
BBC at the time, like, I know this from Doctor Who. With Doctor Who, all the interior stuff was done on sets on video, and the exteriors were shot on film.
Yeah, but this is a cinema release.
Yeah.
Same with Python.
But I'm thinking they just literally took stuff from the show.
Yeah, they
which
did,
would have been shot
yeah.
on video and then transferred to
Which is
film.
really unusual.
Yeah.
Because the reason why you get, I mean, even the Pythons do a sketch about it. You've seen the sketch where they're inside a building.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's Michael Palin looks out the window, it's on video, and he goes, "Oh my God, we're surrounded by," and then you hear the music, "Da-da," and then they cut to the exterior outside, and it's like, film, we're surrounded by film.
Oh, yeah. I remember
And that was a union thing. The film union was different to the
Video.
the the video that shot everything in the studio.
Oh, Studio Union.
Studio Union, yeah. So, but I was surprised about that. That the vast majority was just a transfer, because that was kind of unusual for that time. Well, I guess it was.
They
and
wouldn't
wasn't.
normally, just like if it because it's just a compilation, basically.
Yeah, normally they'd refilm everything like they did with, and now
Python.
for something completely different. It was just totally refilmed
It
and
was.
slightly different in places. So, but overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, it is of its time.
Yeah. I mean,
Tell us about your favorite skit.
well, actually, my favorite skit had to be the ship one, where it's like you're watching an old film.
Yeah,
And then every now and then it just cuts out.
He
Like,
used to, and he did a lot of that. He, you know, I mean, you saw the thing that we did see. We saw a lot of the different things Benny Hill would do. Like, I always found it funny when he's the TV director.
Yes.
And you hear him shouting again by the antics of the cameraman. You know, and it's like, don't focus on that. Or, you know.
And the other one of that is like when he's the acting coach telling them,
Yes.
no, it's this line, not
Yeah, I do like those a lot. Like, with the cameraman telling him to focus on the trumpet, and he's focusing on the crumpet.
Yeah.
Or him being the French New Wave director who's just very blunt.
That was too real for me.
Yeah, that was good.
It's like
That's just reality.
yeah.
Like, there's no joke. That's just how it is.
No.
Because that's
so
referencing If.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know Lindsay Anderson's If. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And so it's black and white and color.
Yeah.
And that was simply because they didn't have enough money in the budget
Yeah.
for color all the way through. So he just thought, fuck it. Okay, we can only afford black and white. So we're just going to shoot the rest in black and white. But because everything's shot out of sequence, the black and white disappears here and there.
And it
just
works
adds-
really well in it.
Well, it's interesting.
I mean, it worked really well, I think.
I mean, it
You
is,
know,
yeah.
the way it worked out,
Yeah,
out
well,
well.
it's like anything. People read things into
Yeah.
what?
Everything.
Everything.
Usually it's just, this messed up, so we had to do this. It has nothing to do with some artistic vision.
It's very brave of you to give her a list. No, she had one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was great. I was like, as this film was going, I was like, I can totally see why a lot of this still works and a lot of it's funny. And then we get to the
Your favorite skit.
my favorite. we get to the Chinese. Do you want to explain it? I can't.
Well, he's a gentleman from Hong Kong who deals in livestock.
Yeah, and his brother's
uh,
Mickey Rooney from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I think you're projecting.
And yes, and where's the humor?
The humor is that they say words funny. They don't say L's. And then, so he's talking with the customs agent, and he's having a hard time understanding him. He's, each other, and then there's little gags.
But the thing is that what's interesting about that is that they don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a Chinese guy and an Indian guy.
No.
Because the two Ronnies, Ronnie Back and Ronnie Corbett, do exactly the same thing. One of the funniest comedy sketches. I think it was voted like the funniest comedy sketch of all time in the UK, even up to, relatively recently, is the Four Candles sketch.
Oh, yeah.
The Four Candles.
I don't know this.
What am I talking about if I say Four Candles?
I've seen it.
4 candles.
What are four candles? Just tell me, what are four candles? What are they?
I don't know. 4 candles? 4 candle?
Exactly, that's where the joke comes from.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
is it four candles or is it fork handles?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it is a guy goes into a hardware store,
Yeah.
Ronnie Corbett, and he starts off, he asks for four candles. And so Ronnie Barker's looking for like four candles, and he's going, no, four candles,
Yeah.
And they just do the whole sketch is like that, but they're just two straight white guys doing it.
And it also goes back to like who's on first and second, just the misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Way of
Yeah.
words.
So once you get rid of the sort of like the casual racism of the time,
Yeah.
it's funny because that's all it is. So that's the way I watch it. I watch it through that because I realise that you can't look at it the way we look at things now. You can't, or else you'd never be able to watch a film from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
No, yeah.
But especially that, you can quite simply, if you see it as Ronnie Corbett, that's what I do, as a Ronnie Corbett, Ronnie Barker sketch. It's still funny because it's just two guys misinterpreting each other. Like, I mean, you could even have it as Yeah, you could imagine Peter Cook and Dudley Moore doing that. You know,
I mean, I'm not saying it's completely unfunny. There are a few moments. It's funny, like when he mutters under his breath, like "stupid Brit." Like that's great.
yeah.
They
yeah.
used a slur.
They did, and then Austin Powers took that joke and made it funnier. Do you know it? It's in the second one, I think, or the third one, where he's like, "There's two things I don't like: intolerance of other people's countries or beliefs or something, and the Dutch."
Yeah.
And that's funnier.
Yeah,
I think.
it should have been in the French.
Nah, the Dutch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
One
mean,
of us is French.
Yeah,
Overall, it was good though.
Overall, it's good.
So just going back to the Benny Hill skit with the Chinese character. Do you know what his name is?
What's his name? I am not ready. Me and Jared are not ready for this.
Chow Mein. He's a Chinese entrepreneur with a number of businesses and enterprises around England. His real name is J. Arthur Main.
J. Arthur Main?
Yeah,
That's funny.
Chow Mein is his name.
That's almost as bad as what is it in 16 Candles?
Long Duck Dong.
Yeah, that's pretty
What?
bad.
Long Duck Dong.
In 16 Candles, that's his name.
The foreign exchange student.
Mr. Chow Mein. Classic.
That's his father, obviously.
It doesn't work so much in the Chinese character that he does, simply because it's not cheeky little Benny
No.
who gets away with the overt sort of sexism because he's an innocent. You know, that's the whole skill of the show. It's just all the guys are fat, bald, geriatric, are just imbeciles.
Yeah.
Fred Scuttle and his whatever he's got. You know, it's like he's either in the army or doing the exercises, and but they're all ineffectual, and they're never going to get the women. Even if they get the women, like he does when they're playing leapfrog.
Oh yeah.
He kisses the woman, and then he's not that keen on it for some reason.
And then she chases
him. So that's how you get away with it. So when you get to sketches, the more wordplay stuff, it doesn't quite work as well.
I think a lot of the wordplay is great. Like for example.
No, I mean the Chinese guy.
But other examples of great wordplay was like the song he was singing.
Oh yeah,
Just taking like part of the song and just basically repeating it again.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff, what people forget, I read a really good biography on him, and he used to disappear for he used to disappear to the continent, and he'd take his little notepad and he'd steal away. He used to steal lots of gags because in those days, you know, if something was on, it's not like now everything's on the internet, you know, but if something was, it could be in a really popular French cabaret act or on French TV or Italian TV, a visual gag.
No one would know.
No one would know. And he'd just steal them. He'd go to a lot of French cabaret and comedy clubs, and he'd steal a lot of stuff. And he would go, watch a lot of TV. He used to watch lots of TV. In fact, all he had in his apartment, he had a flat. That's British for apartment. You see, you're learning something.
You're learning thing, audience.
Yeah. But he lived really close to Thames TV by Teddington Lock, and so he'd be really close to work. And his house, when people visited it, you know, to say this guy was super rich because he was a successful because he was mainly slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that Mr. Bean was designed to be, like a Benny Hill that would be a massive success across the world and in Europe. And so, you forget that he was worth so much money, millions and millions, and he lived in this small flat just by the studio, and people would go over. You know, he'd have these little TV dinners. He used to eat fish fingers a lot. And when he died, he had 2 TVs, I think, and 2 video recorders, and he'd just watch TV on like several channels and just record things. And he was constantly looking for comedy to just sort of reuse it. And all the gags are really old. They go back to vaudeville.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at the stuff like the wordplay, like the songs. That's old vaudeville, isn't it?
It is.
American vaudeville, variety. And so, but he had a knack of, I don't know, he had a really, it was that cheeky little schoolboy sort of vibe going that he could he could get away with murder. And, like the first long sequence shot on film was the stuff about the National Health Service, about the hospitals.
Yeah.
And some of that was, I mean, it was nurses spent decades trying to get away from that cliched sexist image of nurses not helping people when they were ill, not saving lives, but just being like sexy, sluts, being like prostitutes almost, that image. And so the opening is very funny, but it's full of that. And it's full of like really uncomfortable moments that are still funny. But when you look at them, it's like, oh, I don't know. That's really like a woman. She's told to get undressed. She's only got a problem with her hearing, and she's told to get undressed.
And she starts to go behind the curtain, and then he's like, no, in front.
Yeah, and then all the dogs come out and all laughing, and leering at her. I think, but you just about get away with it because it's done with his sort of childish persona that you never feel he's ever gonna, even given the chance, could he even have sex with any of these women, and you sort of feel really he couldn't.
I think that's because of the head nurse character that he has,
who always comes in and breaks.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think of him. You'd never see him as a threat. Like if he was Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Then it would be different. So Burt Reynolds, it's
I don't know. I feel like a lot of sexual predators look like Benny Hill.
No!
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
I was gonna say my favorite part of the sketch was whenever he slapped the old man's head. I just love that.
Yeah, that is funny. That's funny.
Yeah, the moment he starts, and
you could just watch that, couldn't you?
I could just watch that for hours. I love that. That could have been the whole movie, and I would have been happy.
I remember reading in, I think it was like the NME, New Musical Express. First time Snoop Dogg came to the UK. I'm going back a bit. It's funny. I think all the executives at the record company, wanted him to take him to clubs and all the hipster places. All he wanted to do was find where Benny Hill used to live and where he was buried and all that, because he was obsessed with Benny Hill. Because Benny Hill was it was a surprise that he was such a success over here, because it was shown on PBS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is strange, because in the UK, it would never have been shown on BBC, where most PBS shows are BBC ones. It was more, commercial TV, which is slightly frowned upon. But
PBS was also where they showed Monty Python and Doctor Who originally.
But they were more highbrow, both of those. And not
Monty Python is highbrow?
Well, it's seen as, compared to Benny Hill.
They have a lot of lowbrow sketches, though.
No, it's not lowbrow. Oh, no. No, Benny Hill was definitely seen as like appealing to a working class audience, and Monty Python would appeal to a middle class audience.
Here, it was the same thing. We have this illusion that class doesn't exist in the United States, which is slowly collapsing. But when they were first airing here, pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
It's not good. Oh God.
Okay, back to the comedy.
Yes, funny. Here it was just like, this funny British show. Like, I don't think Americans really made the connection between like, this is lower class or middle class or high class.
Like, you could show.
Well, when I say highbrow, I don't mean like Python was the alternative to Benny Hill.
For my generation, maybe slightly older, like millennial, like you could watch a Benny Hill clip and then you could watch the parrot sketch from Monty Python, and you wouldn't really differentiate the two. You'd be like, oh, both of these are funny, and that's it.
Well, they are both funny, but they appeal to a different. It's a different market.
I wouldn't.
Not in the U.S.
Not in the U.S. In the U.K. maybe, but not in the U.S.
Yeah.
No.
Because here it's just like, it's British. That's like a whole.
Well, it's the same as people couldn't tell the difference between. People can't tell regional accents over here.
Right.
They couldn't tell the difference between my accent and Prince Charles or something like that.
Yeah. No.
Or Matt TV, Kids in the Hall,
which is good.
Yeah.
It's done me a lot of good over here.
Oh, you're so fancy with your accent.
Yeah.
But it's like anything British is a generalization, but it has like historically been seen as fancy, at least in the 20th century US.
Yeah.
Like even if it's like the shittiest, like most gross thing, it's like, but it's British.
But it's British.
Yeah.
So it's better than us.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's kind of gone away.
It's gone
because,
away
it's gone away since like the 2000s.
Well,
It
it's
was definitely there when I came here. You would get people who would like attach themselves to me. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
They were like, they were Anglophiles, and it was like, oh yeah, they wanted to know everything about British culture. They just saw it as totally superior to American culture.
But now with the internet and everything, we're much more interconnected, and then we all see that we're all
the walls have come down, and we see that we're all nerds.
that we're all
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
But overall, then, you enjoyed it as
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it, yeah.
yeah.
Just that one sketch I'd probably take out.
Well, it went on a long time.
Yeah, it was very long, and
After a while, I'm just like, is this still going?
But anyhow, yeah, it's that casual racism that I grew up with.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was there all the time. And
I
even
Well, every generation grows up with a weird type of casual racism.
and now we don't have it.
Whether
Well,
it's known or unknown.
now we don't have any
We'll grow.
racism whatsoever, which is
We
good.
solved it.
It's totally
Solved it.
fine.
We
We
solved
solved
it.
it.
Totally
Good
fine.
job, America.
No
We
more
did it.
racism.
Yeah, good job, every country.
Good job, every country.
Yeah. What's interesting is the clips that we showed at the Soho Cinema Club were of this, the 200-foot spools. They were all the ones shot on film.
Oh,
So we didn't get any that were, transferred from video. And talking of stuff transferred from video, at some point we're going to be talking about a film that I think has got a lot of connections with this, and that's The Great Rock and Roll Swindle,
Oh, yeah.
Julian Temples.
oh,
Because it's got a lot of character actors who were also in this kind of comedy. Very Irene Handel and people like that. And it's also it's got a lot of video footage transferred to film, and it's got a lot of actresses and actors who are in saucy, saucy British sex comedies, like Mary Millington. She's in a scene at the end.
Oh, isn't she the
That's Irene Handel.
what's this?
Yeah.
usher? Like she has the flashlight.
Yeah, she has a flashlight. Yeah,
Oh.
but that's to come. So,
I did a motion with my hand. You can't tell.
so any last thoughts before we go on the best of Benny Hill? Would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, yeah. It's solid comedy all throughout. Even though we have like differing thoughts about that one sketch, aside from that, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I don't think it is the best of Benny Hill all the way through,
No.
but there's a lot funnier stuff. But I think it's a good starting point, and it's hits and it's misses.
I guess you compare it to like finding an artist's early, like their first compilation of their greatest hits.
Yeah,
It doesn't have everything, but it has some clunkers, but it has a lot of good stuff that you might want to continue searching for more.
and to be honest, it's a lot better than some of those sort of like American films, which I do like. I like The Groove Tube. I haven't seen it in years, so maybe I won't like it.
I've never seen it.
Never heard of it.
One of those films like Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh,
okay.
I love that
Yeah.
movie.
So we
That
should
also has racism.
Yeah, The Groove Tubes. It's a good one. But even Kentucky Fried Movie, it has the scenes that don't work and some that do, and then you net onto the next one. So, I mean, in a way, films like this are almost a precursor to films like Airplane, which really are just a series of sketches,
Yeah.
aren't they? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a
Oh,
series
yeah.
of sketches, but they decided, well, let's tie it together with a story. Can we ask writing one? No, let's base it entirely on a film. And then let's throw in all these gags. So I guess, these are very much like just a vaudevillian
Yes.
sort
Very
of
much.
approach,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it? So in a way, these are it's kind of modern in a way, because I say modern, like Airplane, films like that, they did lead to comedy films really just being filled constantly with gags.
Yeah.
Lots of gags, just throwing these gags out there. And you still get that in a lot of comedies. So you don't get that many comedy feature films now.
Yeah.
So yeah, a film like this does remind me of films like Airplane, even films like The Jerk, which again, it's just a series of, there's a lot of gags, which, so was the second Python film, Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
Which is my favourite Python film.
I love the intro to it where they keep messing up the trends.
Oh, I know.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
It's,
I remember when I first watching it, I'm like, this is weird. And then by the third time, I'm like, oh, I get it. This is great.
I don't think anyone can watch that and not find it hysterically funny, because there's just so much in it. It's one of the, I think it's much better than, I know the Pythons liked Life of Brian, But I think
I
that's
love
just
Like a Prayer.
they felt that they wanted a film with a story.
Yeah.
But I think the story stops the constant flow of gags. So I think there's a reason why we've got Holy Grail as a musical, and we've got Holy Grail merch, and Holy Grail has lasted longer because it simply is funnier. Because they didn't worry about a story. It was just like, okay, let's tell another stupid. And the medieval life and medieval stories and fables, they lend themselves to just the absurd comedy of the Pythons. Okay, so on that, we're going to say bye. Bye from me, Miles Flanagan.
Bye from Jared.
And adios from Sean.
Goodbye. I'm going to keep that in.
You should.